Alrighty, guys, welcome. Let's finish this up. Week 11. We are definitely in the home stretch here. I got a new mic, so hopefully this sounds okay. Also, it seems to catch a lot of the background noise. You may hear more of my children beating each other. I don't know. We'll see. All right, so what we're going to do is finish this up. We're going to make, this is probably going to be a pretty long video. There's a lot we got to do, but we're going to create an admin user page. So it's going to be a page where we can create admin users, edit them, manage them. And then also we need to make the public side of the site where when we create pages and sections, it'll actually show up and people can see them without having to be logged in. And then when we're done with all that, we'll get it all uploaded onto Heroku. I'll show you how to import an admin user onto Heroku so you can still control the page, control the site. And we'll just go from there. So hopefully this will work, and here we go. So hop into the command prompt. Been doing this all quarter long. Okay, I'm going to open this up in Atom. Okay, there's all the fun stuff. Kind of close out this. Okay, yeah, that's kind of all we need to do right now. All right, so let's get going. So we need to create a scope and a method to the admin user model. So we're going to come over here to the app, hop into the model, and hop into admin user. Okay, and we're just going to do it right here, right above the private function. Okay, so we're going to set up a scope. Okay, let's call it sorted. So this is going back, long, I don't know, a couple months or so. Create up a scope here so we can get into the database and define. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab the last name of that user, of the usernames of the administrators. Okay, and then we're going to do, okay, and we're going to order that ascending, and we're going to grab the first name. We're going to order that ascending as well. Okay, and we called that scope lambda. Remember, that's how we create scopes. So now we can call sorted, and then it's going to run through and it's going to know to take the last name and alphabetize that. And then if there's like two last names that are the same, then it'll alphabetize it by first name afterwards. So that's how that's working right there. Okay. Okay, and then I'm going to define a method here. Call it name. And this is just going to return the name of the person. Okay, so first name. And last name. All right, so all this method here is doing is just so when we call this method, it's going to return the first and the last name of the admin user inside the database. Okay, and then we've set up that scope. All right, so that's all we need to do there. So we're going to save it. Okay, now we're going to go to the command line and we're going to generate a new controller, and this controller is going to be what we use to handle these admin users. Okay, so we'll go Rails generate controller, and we're going to call it admin users. It's plural because there's going to be more than one. And then we got to generate templates with this controller. And we're going to generate one called index, new, edit, and delete. Okay, so we'll hit enter. Wait for it to do its thing here. Boom, there we go. Okay, so that creates the controller called admin users. So we should be able to come over here. There it is. There's the new controller that we just made. Okay, and then when we come down to the views, we'll have admin user, and that's delete, edit, index, and new. Those are the ones that we did. Now we're not going to have a show because remember, if you remember the show action, all that does is just it goes to the database and grabs stuff, which we don't need. Okay, so here we are. There's the controller we just made. All right, so like I said, all we're going to have are these actions here. So index, new, edit, delete. We're probably going to have to add a few more here, but now that we created the controller, we need to go to the routes. Okay, that's under config. Head over to routes. Okay, and we can see that it already added some for us. Okay. And we are going to use resourceful routes on this. So we can get rid of all these that it put in there. We don't need them. Okay, and just to kind of keep them all together, I'm going to add the resourceful route down here. Okay, so we'll just kind of do the same thing we did over here. So resources, admin users. Okay, remember this is making it so we can use the route helpers and all those things that we'll do later. Okay, and we're going to tell it that we're using all of those different actions that it would expect except for show. So right here we got to define that, hey, we're not going to be using the show action. Okay, then it's exactly the same thing that we've been doing over here, and we are going to add that delete action. So we're going to add it there. Okay, and then we have everything kind of set up the way we need it. So we're saying we're going to be using all those different resource routes, okay, with using admin users, except for we're not using the show action. We are going to use the delete, and that gets it set up. All right, so that's all we got to do in the routes. Save all. Okay, we're going to come back up to the admin controller. Admin users controller, and we're going to put in and define the actions this controller will need to follow. Sorry, my papers are sticking together, and I'm sure you can hear it because of the great background stuff going on. All right, now be prepared. This is going to be a lot of typing, so here we go. Get ready, be excited. All right, first thing we're going to do is tell it what layout to use. So it's going to use the layout admin, just like the rest of our stuff. Okay, now we also want to do that before action. We want to make sure that checks to make sure that we're logged in, because if we're not, we shouldn't be able to get to this admin page. So confirm logged in, we got to make sure that runs that and make sure that we're logged in, just so it lets us do what an admin should be able to do. Okay, the index, we got to do a search for the admin users. So we're going to set up the instance variable. Admin users is going to be equal to the admin user class sorted. So we're going to sort all of the admin users that are in the database. Okay, now we have define, or the new action. I'm going to set up another instance variable called admin user new. So remember, the index action just goes and grabs all of the admin users. Okay, so we can, and then it sorts them. The new actually sets up the new object, and it's going to create a new admin user. We need to add another action here, so it's going to be create. Throw an N right there. So remember, this just kind of gets it set up. It sets up the new object for the admin user, then create is the action that actually goes into the database and creates it. So we're going to grab the admin user instance variable. We're going to say admin user, going to use that class, and we're going to say new. And we're going to use the admin user params. So remember, that's grabbing all the stuff that they typed in on the form. And it's going to use all of those parameters that they put in. All right, so now we got a if statement. So if admin user save, in other words, if it's saved to the database, okay, correctly, we're going to do a flash notice. And what we're going to say is, hey, the admin user, I don't even need user, I'll just say admin created successfully. and then we're going to redirect them. Going to redirect them to the admin user's path. We'll throw in an else. If it didn't work, for some reason it couldn't save it, we're just going to render that new page again. And if you're wondering, like, hey, where is this new coming from? It's just these templates, right? Let's get rid of that. Go down to views. Don't need that. So this new template, it'll just render the new template that's controlled by that controller. Okay. Cool. And also another thing we can do, remember you can go Rails routes, and that'll give you the routes to make sure that when you went in there and set up those new routes that it worked. Okay. So there's all the different things that we set up, admin, and so forth. Access menu, access login. Actually, admin users. Close out of that real quick. Sometimes you have to reload it, but I think it was still doing what I wanted there. Yeah, so admin users and so forth. These are all the ones that we have here. Okay, so that was all created by these resourceful routes. So good, we know that that worked. So when here we say redirect to admin users path, we're basically telling it to go back to admin users. That's the path that it's using. That's what the resourceful routes let us do, is we can tell it to go to any of these pages by saying the prefix and then putting path after it. Okay, so we're good with the create. That should be all we need to do there. Now we got edit that we got to mess with. So admin user is going to be equal to admin user find. And we're going to find that admin user using the params. We're using that ID that we grabbed from the database. So if we pick an admin user and we're going to edit them, it's going to grab the ID of that user that we have selected, and it's going to use that to go into the database to find it. Okay, we need another action in here, update. Throw end in there. Okay, and then we're going to throw a little bit more in here. So admin user. So remember, this is just selecting the correct admin user that we want to edit, and then this is going to actually go out to the database and do what we're telling it to. So admin user class, find. We got to find the one that they're wanting to edit. Okay, so if admin user update attributes, admin user params. So if the update went through, basically, we're going to give them a flash notice. And it says whatever you want it to, but I'm going to say admin user updated. Okay, if it didn't work, if for whatever reason it wasn't able to update, we're going to render the edit page. We'll just send them back to there. Okay, and then we're going to close out that if statement. Okay, last one. Well, I think it's the last one. Nope, definitely not. So we have to do the delete action. So admin user equals the admin user class. We're going to find them again. Okay, that's it with delete. So that's just the looking up action. Now we need the actual action that will destroy them and delete them from the database. So destroy, put in the end there, just so I don't forget it. Admin user, admin user.find, gotta find him. Once we've found him, we can destroy it, delete it. Destroy. Once it gets destroyed, we're going to give him a flash notice just to say, hey, it worked. So admin user deleted, and then we're going to redirect them. We'll just send them back to the admin user page. Admin user path. Okay, so that's the destroy method. Now you can see that over here we're calling admin user params. Well, we haven't defined that. That's not something that's like built in. So we need to define what that is, and that's what we're going to do over here. This is going to be the method that grabs all the parameters from the username. So admin, it's down here. So admin user params. And then this is going to, like I said, this is the method that's going to go out there and grab all of the admin user stuff. So it's going to require that it's going to require that the object exists, that the admin user exists. And then if you remember, it doesn't allow mass assignment. Okay, so that's what we're doing here. Actually, I might have lied. This isn't actually pulling it from, this is actually allowing the mass assignment. If you remember a couple weeks ago, Rails by default doesn't allow you to mass assign things. So we have to go in there and we have to allow the first name, the last name, the email, username, and the password to be mass assigned. Okay, and you may be going, well, wait a minute, isn't there a password digest in there? Yeah, there is, but we can't do that. It doesn't allow us to go in there and mess with the hash, which is good. That's something that we should never touch. The bcrypt is smart enough to know that, okay, you're using password, and that's going to allow us to be able to go in there and mess with the password digest. Okay. So we don't need the comma there. I'm going to bring everything back up. Okay, and then we'll end it. So again, it says if we can update the attributes, and then it goes out there and runs this function to check to see what's allowed, and we allow all these different things, and then it's good, and then it go back there, and then it should allow us to update those and mass assign those variables and those values. Alrighty, that should be it for the controller. We should have defined all the stuff. If we get into any issues or have any problems, we'll go back and see. But that should be good for the controller. Okay, so we're good with the controller there. Let's hop over to the index pages now. So we'll go to the index first under the admin user. Now, just to make this not as painful, I'm going to use all of the templates from sections. I'm just going to copy and paste over and then just kind of edit them as needed. Okay, so I'm going to grab the index from sections, hit Command A or Control A. That'll select everything, and then Command C, Control C. Come over here, and I'll throw it inside of the index. And we got to go through and just start changing stuff. So this is not all sections, it's all admin users. So this is going to be the page that shows all the admin users. So all admin users. I'm going to throw in a link that's going to allow me to go back if I want to. So a link to, the link's going to say back to menu. Okay, and it's going to take me back to the admin users page, so admin path. And I'll apply a class to this with the CSS files that we've been using, and we're going to say backlink. All right, so the class over here is going to be admin users. Okay, we're not doing sections, we're doing admin users. All right, we're not going to need this image tag. This one we're going to say it's add new admin user. And that's going to take us to the resourceful routes. So we're going to say new admin user path. Okay, and action news find. Okay, now I'm going to have a line that tells me how many admin users were found. So I'll say div. Okay, throw in this line of Ruby code. It's going to say, I'm going to use pluralize, so it's smart enough to know if I find more than one, it'll pluralize the word. Let's see if I spell it right. Pluralize, yep. So pluralize admin users. Dot size, so it's going to tell me how many are in there. And the word that it's going to pluralize is admin user. So if it finds more than one admin users, it'll say admin users. If it only finds one, it'll say admin user. And then we're just going to say found. If you're wondering what the heck is going on, it's going to pluralize. It's going to go out there and see how many admin users there are. If there's one, it'll say one admin user found. Okay, if there's three, it'll say three admin users found, and so forth. I might as well capitalize F. Why not? Okay, so now we got our table, listing, summary. This is going to be admin users list. Remember, summary on tables is just for search engines. Doesn't show up, doesn't do anything. This is just how you can let search engines know what's inside the table. All right, we don't need the class here because these aren't. All right, so we have the first one is going to be username. So now we're just displaying everything from the database. These are the headers of the columns. This is going to be username. This is going to be name, email, actions. And we don't need this extra one. So again, we're just setting up the table to display all the admin users. Okay, so we're not going through the sections. We're going through all of the admin users. All right, so going through each one of those admin users, and we're going to store them inside of a temporary variable called admin user. All right, so now we can say admin user dot username. Now we're just matching up these columns. Right, so the first column has username, and then right underneath it, it's going to show the first admin username. Next one, admin user dot name. Next one, this is going to be an email. So if we want to be able to email them easy, we can do mail to. It's kind of like a link to. So this is going to create a mail to link, basically, is what this does. And we're going to use the admin user.email to create that link. So that's just going to create, if you've ever done it, it's href equals quote mail to colon and then their email. It's the same thing here. So this is just creating a mail to link so you can click on it and be able to email them if you want. All right, so we just did the mail to. Now we don't need this. We really don't need any of these comments either. I mean, you can get rid of these comments or just kind of make your own. Doesn't really matter. So let's get rid of that. Okay, and now we have the actions, and we don't need the show because we're not using that action. So we are going to need, oops. Do you want the link to? So edit, we're going to call it edit admin user path. And we're going to be editing the admin user. Okay. It's going to be delete admin user path admin user. So again, if you're wondering what the heck all these paths are, we did these couple weeks ago. It's all has to do with these resourceful routes, right? All this admin user stuff, new admin user, edit, admin user, all of those different paths that we set up, and it's using these prefix. The resourceful route lets us do this because it knows what to expect. Okay, I don't know if there's anything. I think that's all we needed to make changes to. So we're good with index. And if not, we'll come back and take a look at it later. Okay, so now we're going to do the new, and we're going to grab that from section as well. So I'm going to copy that, come over here to new, throw it in here. We just got to edit it. Now, let's see, I'm going to throw a page title in there. So I'm going to grab that from the other one. So paste that right here. And it's going to be new admin user because that's what we're doing. This is the page that's going to allow us to create that new admin user. So the link to back to list, that's fine, but it's going to go to admin user path. Admin users path. Okay, the class is going to be admin users new. And we're not creating a section, we're creating an admin user. Got our form 4. So that's going to be going through all the different stuff for admin user. It's going to render that parcel, the form, that's fine. Okay, locals, it's passing that local F variable, that's fine too. And this is going to be create admin user. So that wasn't too bad. That's all we had to change there. All right, so now because new and edit are so similar, we're just going to copy and paste this. So we're going to copy and paste from new. We're inside of the admin users views here. So we're going to go new, copy new, and just throw it inside of edit because they're really, really similar. So we're not going to use the sections for that. We're just going to stick inside admin user and just copy and paste over there. So this is going to be update admin user. So link to back to list, admin users path, that's fine, that's fine. Instead of admin users new, it's going to be admin users edit. We're going to say update admin users. Right, okay, so we have that. The form should be basically the same. It's creating that form using all the stuff from the database. This is going to be update. And I'm thinking that's it. Cool. All right, now we're going to need, because we're rendering this partial form, right? We have them in all these other ones, the form, but we don't have that in there. So we need to make sure that it has a partial, so when it's calling for this partial that it exists, because right now it doesn't. So I'm going to select the one from section, right-click and copy. Okay, then I'm going to come over here to admin users, and I'm just going to paste it in there. So paste. So we're going to use that. And it's just same thing here. We're just going to see what we need to change here. So this is going to be admin user, form fields. Now it's going to be a little bit different on these than what we have right now. So the first thing we're going to grab is using that form variable. So f.label. We're going to grab whatever the first name is. We're going to do the first couple here, and then we're just going to copy and paste and switch them out as needed. And this will be a text field. And it's going to be first name. So remember, this is just creating that form that we use to update and create new users and such. Alrighty. So I'm gonna get rid of these comments just to make this a little bit easier here. Oh, and I forgot the Ruby code there. You may have caught that, and if you did, good job. Alrighty, looks okay to me. So now I'm going to copy this, and I'm just going to paste over these other rows. Because we don't need all these headers. We don't need any of that. We just need, well, I mean, we have this header that we're using here, but these are all going to be pretty similar. So we're going to paste. We'll have a total of 5. So 2, 3, 4, 5. And we don't need that last row. So the first one's first name. Now we're going to grab the last name. That's going to be what we're messing with. Right, the next one is email. If you hear a bunch of weird noises, that's just my house. Okay, email. Next one's going to be username. And then the last one here is the password. So these are all the fields that we're creating in that form. And this is what's going to be used to put them in the database and edit them. Now, this needs to be changed, right? This isn't going to be a text field. This is going to be a password field because we don't want our passwords showing up when we start typing them. All right, let me double check. I got everything. If not, errors will fly all over the place, and then we'll go fix them. Okay, so now we're going to we will grab the delete template from sections. Oops, not pages. I guess it's really not a huge deal where you grab it from, just as long as you edit it correctly. So we'll grab from sections, throw it over here. Booyah. And then we need to start changing it up. I want to have a title again, so I'm going to grab that from one of these. Throw it in here. This will be delete admin user. So admin users path. Class backlink, that's fine. Admin users delete. It's going to be delete admin user. So again, just doing what we've done before. Let's see. Then we have the form 4. This can be for admin user, not section. The method is delete. The do is fine. Are you sure you want to permanently delete this admin user? Which we do. Reference name, f.object name, that's the same. That'll work no matter what part of the database we're getting into. So then we have delete admin user. That should be all we're going to have to mess around with. All right, and if you remember last week, if we go inside of Access here, we had this menu. Right in here, we had manage admin users, and we had a dead link here. So we need to update that, so now that'll actually let us go in there and manage these users. So all we got to do is to get rid of that quote and the pound, and this is going to be admin users. Oh, hello. Admin users path. That'll take us to the page that'll allow us to start messing with the admin users. All right, people. So we'll do file save. We're going to save all. Make sure it's all saved, and we will test this wretched thing out. Come down here, launch the server. All right, it's going. Yes, I like less than Jake. I don't apologize because they're awesome. I was taking a look at it. So we're going to go localhost 3000. We're going to go to admin. Let's see what the heck this brings us to. Okay, and I think it remembered that I was still logged in. So I'm going to hit log out just for fun. And then I'm going to try to go into admin again. Okay, it's freaking out, wants me to log in, which is good. ABC, 1, 2, 3, bam. All right. Oh no. Oh no. That's bad. Okay. Well, not horrible. We can take a look at this. If you're getting the same, that means I am a horrible person and I, led you astray. So I'm going to take a look at it. I will come back when I tell you how to fix it. Yeah, I don't really know how to spell. And again, hopefully maybe you had that. Maybe you knew as I was doing this what I was doing wrong. Nope, I'm in the wrong spot. I need to hop into the model. Bam, there we go. So, and you may have been like yelling at me the whole time. It's lambda, you moron. But anyways, there it is, lamb. So like taking a lamb to the slaughter, right? And then duh, lamb, duh. Let's try it now. Let's go back. All right, cool. So it works. Then we have all these managed stuff. We can do manage admin users. All right, so it tells me how many it's found. So 2 admin users. See that the pluralize is working there. Add users found. I can add a new admin user. Cool, that's working. Well, I guess let's try it. So Fred McGillicuddy, email fred@fred.com, fred.mcgillicuddy, password 111111, 6 ones. Bam. All right, cool, worked. So if I want to edit them, I can hit edit. Allows me to do it. I can say 123 instead for the password. I don't know if this is working. I don't know if that worked or not because I'm not getting any weird errors. Back to list. Not sure if that worked. But then again, I don't think admin user updated. Yeah, maybe we're okay. Hit delete. Do I want to delete Fred McGillicuddy? Yes. All right, so that worked. I'm going to try that one more time, though, because I'm not sure. I'll just call it F. That's probably going to freak out. Dude, what? Email dude at dude.com. We'll give him a username of dude what. Stick with ABC123. We'll create them. Now I can come over here and edit. Let's change his name to Fred. See, I don't know if that's working or not. Yeah, it works. It's just not sending us back. I don't know if it's supposed to. I'm going to check that real quick. Yeah, I missed a line of code here. Sorry, guys. So yeah, update. So once it says admin user updated, we need to redirect them, right? We got to redirect them back to the page that we'll just take them back to the admin user page. So I forgot to put that there. So it's redirect to. It's going to take them to the admin users path. There we go. Yeah, I forgot that while we were typing everything out. So I'm wondering what else I forgot. Let's see, I think everything else is okay. We got all the different redirects. So, all right, so now it should be happy. Let's take a look. So we'll say edit. Change his name back to dude what, password ABC123. There we go. Now it takes us back. Cool. Alrighty. So hopefully, I mean, when these type of problems come up, you'll be able to fix them because you kind of understand exactly what the code's doing and all that fun stuff. So, good. Okay, so now that we have this area working that allows us to mess around with our admin users, create them, edit them, delete them, we're good. What we want to do next is create kind of a public area where they can see the subjects and the content of them and the sections and pages and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to create the area that people can see without having to be logged in. Because remember, this is the admin area. This is where we manage our stuff. And this isn't accessible to the public, only for people who have logins. So we're going to head back here, stop the server. So Control C. Yep, want to stop it. All right, we're going to create a public controller. Right, so Rails generate. So this is going to be the controller that controls all the public pages. So did I spell that? Generate controller. We're going to call it public. Public. And it's going to have an index template and a show. All right. So we'll hit enter. Bam. There we go. Come over to the controllers. We should have a public controller now, which we do with index and show. We should have a public with index and show. Those are the views. Good stuff. All right, now we're going to go to the routes, because remember, we always got to set that up. So head over to routes. And just like usual, it gave us these default ones. So now we got to figure out what we're going to put there. All right, now right now, if I go to the index, it would probably help if my server was running, right? So let's run that real quick. cool is you don't even have to refresh it, I don't think. It just, well, we'll see in a minute. It just like recognizes that that connection was there trying, and then it just does it, yeah. So geez, this was 8,000 years ago, right? So this is my public page right now, which I don't want. I want it to be the public portion of this pages that I'm creating now. So we need to get rid of this root thing here. So I'm going to move it up to the top because it's usually good to have your root there at the top so you know exactly what it is. And I'm going to say the root, if they type in the root, it's going to forward to, oops, not TP. That was funny to me. It's going to go to public index. So the index view of the public controller. So here's the public controller there. It's going to load right here. It's going to load this page. This is going to be our home page basically. And that's what we said there. So because we use that, we don't need that. Get rid of that. So the root is going to be the index view of the public controller. Okay, and then a couple other ones we want to do is get rid of this as well. So get show permalink. So we're going to be using those permalinks from the database to be able to display these different pages. And we're going to have that redirect to public show. So when we type in show / the name of the permalink of the page, it's going to redirect to public show. And it's going to use whatever we define here inside of this view, inside of this template. All right, so that's all we should have to do for the routes. So these are just going to be simple routes, no resourceful routes, because this isn't really interacting that much with, I mean, it is a little bit with the database, but it's not editing and deleting. It's just kind of pulling stuff, and that's it. So they don't need to be, we don't need all those different actions that resourceful routes would give us. Now we're going to head over to the public controller, and we need to tell it to use a layout. Okay, and the layout we're going to use is public, and no, we haven't created that yet. So the layout we're going to have it use is called public. And on the index action, there's not going to really be doing much. So the index, all the index page is going to be doing is just showing intro text. And you can throw pictures in there, whatever you want, but there's not a lot of database action going on there. It's just going to be showing some static, throw static in there. So static, intro, text, images, whatever you want to be on the home page. Little welcome message really is all we have there, is all we'll be putting there. All right, on the show link, though, on the show action, we need to look up the page that matches the permalink that we put in there, that we put into the URL box. All right, so this is what we're going to have. We're going to have that page. And then what page is going to be equal to is using the page class there. We're going to go look up all the visible pages where the permalink is equal to what was put inside the URL box. So we use params for that. Params permalink. Okay, and then we're going to show the first one that comes up. Now we need to handle if that page doesn't exist. So if page nil, okay, so if it returns nil to us, in other words, that page doesn't exist with that permalink, got to redirect. So redirect to the root path, which is just this index page. Okay, but if it does exist, well, it's just going to show. This is going to, we don't need to write anything. It's just going to show that page. Okay, it's going to show the page that I found. We don't need to have the else there, but that's there just to kind of tell us and remind us exactly what's going to happen. Okay, and then we're going to close out that if statement. So that's really all we need to do with the controller there. Just kind of telling it what to do. So let's see here. All right, so now we're going to go into the public templates. We're going to hop into index. We're not going to say much here. Again, like I said, you can put whatever you want here. But I'm just saying, welcome to my CMS. It's not going to be anything too crazy. Do H2 instead of H1s, just so they're not so big and obnoxious. And I'll just say, give them a little message like, this is my first ROR Ruby on Rails app, as if they care, right? But I'm going to put that. Again, this is your home page. So put whatever you want here. I'm not going to put a lot here. Okay, now we'll hop into the show template. Okay, and this needs to control what page, right? What page we wanted to load with the parameters, with the permalinks. Okay, I'm going to grab, where is it? From admin users, I'm going to grab the page title. It's just a fun one to use. Give it a page title of page name. So whatever name of the page is, that'll be in the title. So H2, this is going to be, we'll put that in as well. So the title is going to be the page name. Save it there. Sorry about my crazy child. He's a crazy child. So page.sections.visible. So we're accessing all of the sections that are attached to this page that are visible. And then we're going to sort them. And we're going to go through each of them. And we're going to store those inside of section. I hope you're kind of seeing how powerful this whole object-oriented approach to databases is. It's pretty incredible that you can just say, grab all the sections inside a page. Instead of writing, all these like 50 different lines of SQL to do this, you're just writing a couple commands here that go inside the database. I mean, it's just amazing that you can do all that you can do with just this one statement, right? Grab all the sections that are attached to that page that are marked as visible, sort them, and then loop through. I don't know, just kind of blows my mind. I'm geeking out a little bit. It's pretty incredible. All right, so div class equals section. So this is going to be how we display the sections that are attached to that page. All right, we're going to set up a case, which is basically a bunch of if statements. It kind of checks for a certain condition and it does certain things. So what we're going to be checking is the content type of that section. Remember, we can mark it as text or HTML. I don't know if you remember that, but we did that a couple weeks ago or so. Let's see, is my server running? Yeah, we'll get rid of those, sorry. Nah, I don't need it. Yeah, that's fine, because I haven't finished it yet. But just remember, when we created those sections with the content, we can say HTML or text, and that's what we're going to check. So we're checking the content type of the section. So when it's HTML, we're going to do something. Okay, and what we're going to do is spit it out using we're going to spit it out using the code that's in there. So we're going to use that raw function we talked about a while back. We're going to sanitize it so it can't be injected. Okay, and we're going to grab the section's content. Okay, and then we're going to define what tags we're going to allow inside of that HTML post. So I want to allow the B tag, the I tag. I don't really care about the strong tag that much. I want to allow A tags. I want to allow iframe tags, and so forth. So here's where you define all the different tags that you're going to allow inside of this HTML post. All right. And that's kind of what that sanitize is doing, is it's breaking out all those tags so it can't be injected, cross-site scripting, all that kind of stuff. And then it also pulls out all the tags except for these ones that we're allowing. All right. Now we need to set up the other one. So when it is text and not HTML, we got to do something differently. We're going to print out, remember this simple format. It takes whatever you type in and it automatically adds break tags and p tags for you. And it does it in the sanitized way, so it doesn't allow the cross-site scripting there. So it'll take the content and it'll simple format it. Add break tags, it'll add p tags where needed. It'll just kind of do all that for you. Why do I have that p tag there? That's kind of weird. Maybe because it puts them in there. I don't know if we really need that p tag. I don't think it's going to break anything though. Okay, then we got end. Oops. In that case, so a case, like you can say, the case, you feed it a variable, you fill it you give it some sort of just a variable, some sort of value, and then it checks that value and it says, well, if it's HTML, do this. If it's text, do this. If we had different options, we could basically set up a case for all of those and say when it's a certain thing, do something. So this is like a big if-else statement, really. So if it's HTML, do this. Else, if it's text, do this. It's just another way to write a bunch of if-else statements. And these case things are in JavaScript and PHP. They're all over the place. All right, now we'll close out that div. And then now that we've ended the case, we need to end the do statement as well. And that's what we're going to do here. Now, if you're putting in comments, be careful. I ran into an issue where I had comments, I think, underneath here, and it broke it. So just be careful where you're putting comments here. If it get weird errors, get rid of your comments, and it may work just fine. It was weird. I'm not going to lie. It was really weird how that was happening. All right. Hopefully this works. Okay, but this is the show template. It's grabbing whatever section is visible that's attached to those pages, and it's going to display it. It's going to display it as HTML content, or it's going to display it as text. And these are the tags that I'm allowing inside of the HTML comment. Usually you don't want to allow like script tags and stuff because that'll allow people to run JavaScript on those posts and do some malicious stuff. Okay, so we should be good there. Now we're going to add a new file in the View Layouts folder. Drop that down. And we're going to call it, oops, not new folder, new file. We're going to call it public.html.erb. Then I'm going to basically take what I have in the admin layout here. I'm going to copy that and throw it inside of the public, just so we don't have to retype it. Now I get it. Navigating this can be a little crazy. So for right now, you're going, wait, what are we doing here with this public? Okay, remember over here in the public, controller, we said use the layout of public. That's what we're creating right now. Okay, we're just creating this public layout, so it'll use that when showing these pages. Okay, and then we're going to change it up. It's not going to be anything too crazy. So, all right, we're going to change this out a little bit. So we're going to do kind of like a backwards if statement, which is kind of interesting. So Ruby allows this, which I think is interesting. You can say what's going to happen if this is true. You're doing it backwards, but it works. So you can say if the page title exists, then you're going to have CMS space, and then the little vertical line, and then it's going to print out whatever's stored inside a page title. So that's all we're doing there. We're just doing this backwards if statement. So this is actually what happens if it's true, and then this is the condition statement. So Ruby allows you to do that, which I thought was kind of interesting. All right, we're not going to use the style sheet of admin. We're going to use the style sheet of application. If you're like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? Remember, in the assets, we have our style sheets, access, all of these different things. We're not going to be using admin.css. We're going to be using application right here. And this is the big one. Remember, it requires primary, which is right there, and requires itself. So it's pulling everything from primary. Again, that was a few weeks ago, but I'm just trying to remind you there. Okay. Go back down there. So we're using application instead of admin. Media all, that's fine. Okay, got our closing head tag, got our body tag, header. So we're going to call this simple. Well, we'll just call it CMS. Main. Okay, we don't need any flash stuff. We don't need any flash notices. Don't need that end there, because that was for the if. Okay, content, we're still going to yield it. Remember, yield is what pulls the information from the different views. That's what's going to go out here. That's how we're going to get this stuff to show up inside of this layout. That's what yield does. Right, so main content, we're going to throw another div here. This is going to use a CSS clear. This is just something that they did on the CSS that we got. It's going to do a little CSS fix there. So don't worry too much about that. Okay, then we got our footer, copyright me. Yep, that's all we need to do in here. So remember again, this is the layout. We told the public controller to use this layout. This layout's going to come through, grab all this page information, and then the yield is going to pull inside the information, the show. That's how that pulls that in there. All right, let's try it out. So it looks like our stuff's still running. So let's check this for, this should be working now, hopefully. Just the root. Okay, cool. So it shows up. This is the index page here. So that first of all is good. So our routes are working. It's taking us to the index, and it's showing the index template there. Okay, now we're going to log in. And we got to take a look at our pages here. So we're going to manage pages. And notice how it didn't ask me to log in again because of that session. It recognized that I was still in, which is good. All right, and we need to take a look at these permalinks because that's how we set it up in our code. see here, we're going to go to controllers public. So remember, we're using permalinks here. That's how we're going to decide what to display. And if we look at our routes, we're using show, so we have to do show and then the permalink, and that's going to redirect to public show. So we have to type in show / and whatever permalink it is to get it to work. So let's try that. So we're in pages, so I can say show dash, and then I can pick whatever page I want to go to. And they all have a section attached to it. That's what that's telling us there. So let's go to the PHP one. So I can say show PHP because that's the permalink. I hit enter. Cool. And then that should be showing the page with the section. So now I can go back. Let's see here. We can take a look at the sections. So page ID, this tells us what it's attached to. So the first page, second, third, I may have mixed that up. Let's check here. So pages, so PHP is 1, CSS is 2, Rails is 3. No, that actually looks okay. We're going to edit the section. Page. Okay, so here it is. So I don't want this PHP to be attached to the Rails page. I want it to be attached to the PHP page. So I'm going to edit that. Okay, I'll head back. I wonder. Interesting. So the IDs must just be weird. Okay, so the CSX section, I can hit edit. That's attached to PHP. I don't want that. I want that to be attached to the CSS page. They must just have different IDs than what I was seeing there. And then Rails, we'll hit edit. I want that to be attached to the Rails page. There we go. So actually Rails was 1, CSS was 3, and PHP was 2. Interesting. Oh, so this is what I should have been looking for. This was the subject ID. This is the subject that it was attached to, so I was wrong there. So these are the IDs. Okay, cool. Now it should work a little bit more like we thought it would be. Hello, Jordan. Okay, so I'm going to try the PHP again. So we'll say view.php. And it's freaking out. Awesome. What did I do wrong there? Again, you're probably yelling at me. It's not view, it's show. Getting all this, so show permalink is what we want. So show, and then the permalink we're going to use is PHP. There we go. So now they're attached correctly. I just didn't have them attached correctly. I didn't have so this is the page here, and then this is the actual section that's attached to that page. So if you're still kind of like, you can go in here and just edit these, because I call the PHP page. So whatever you change is the page here is going to show up. It's going to show up here, right? So go around and play around with these variables, and then you'll be able to kind of see how they're working there. But you can control it all here from the admin page. And now we're heading over here to pages, and you'll know all that works when you can test all this out. All right, before we move on, I just wanted to kind of show you this in action. So I went in here and I created another section called PHP section 2. I hit edit. I'll just hit edit because I'll show you what I did. I attached the PHP page, made it position 2, and then I also made sure it was visible. The first time I did it, I didn't check that, so it didn't show up. I said HTML is okay, and I also went in here and I allowed the BR tag because you kind of need that a little bit. So I went in there, just put in a link. Bolded dude, italicized what? Did I allow I did. Okay, and then I put in just a YouTube video. So now when we go to show PHP, all right, it shows PHP rocks, which is that first section, and then there's Amazon, there's dude, there's what, and then there's lesson Jake, not just shameless plug, I guess. A shameful plug, whatever. So there it goes. So it's kind of cool. If you allow the right tags and stuff, you can put in a bunch of cool content inside of these. Alrighty. Okay, so right now you can see that we have to type in the right link to get to all these different things. So we're going to start putting in a little bit more of a navigation. All right. So to start that out, we're going to head back here. We're going to go to the public controller. All right, and we're going to put in a before action. All right, so we'll just put that right here. So before action, and the before action we're going to put in is set up navigation. So this is going to be what creates the little navigation for us. So again, public controller, and we have a setup navigation before action. So like usual, we'll come down here, make sure you put it in the right spot. We have the end for show, we have the end for that if, so it's going to go right here, right before the ending end. All right, and to do that, we set up the private function. Okay, we're going to define it as setup navigation. Okay. And we're going to set up an instant variable called subjects. Set it equal to subject.visible sorted. So we're storing inside of subjects all of the subjects that are visible, and then we sort them. And that's going to be stored inside of subjects there. All right, so that's what we have there on the public controller. All right, now we're going to head over to views. Let's close this up. Views, then we're going to go over to layouts. And we're going to create a partial layout here. Okay, so we're going to right click, we're going to do a new file, and we're going to call it underscore navigation .html.erb. And this is going to be the partial layout that holds the navigation bar that allows us to kind of go around a little bit. All right, this is what we're going to put in it. Okay, we've done this a few weeks ago. All right, so all this is doing here is it's telling it to expect a list of subjects that we can go through. If not, it's going to set it equal to an array, just an empty array with nothing in it. Okay, we're going to create an unordered list. We'll close that out here. And this unordered list is going to control our links, basically. All right, so we're going to go through subjects. Remember what we just did here in the public controller. We set up subjects, right? That's what we're using. We're using that instance variable. That's what we're doing right now inside of this navigation partial layout. All right, so subjects, go through all the subjects. Okay, store them inside that temporary variable called subject. Okay, and inside of that unordered list, we're going to create a list item. Okay, inside of that list item is going to be the subject's name. So subject.name. Again, this is just this loop that's creating the navigation for us. And then inside of there, we're going to create another unordered list. Okay, and then we're going to grab all the pages that are attached to that subject that are visible. We're going to sort them, And we're going to go through each of them. So we kind of already did a command like that a while back in this video. So whatever pages are attached to that subject that are visible, we're going to sort them and loop through all of them and store them inside a page here. Okay, and then we're going to set up a list item here. And we're going to use a new method, which I think is kind of cool. So it's link to unless current. And what that means is kind of what it sounds like. It will make whatever it pulls out of here a link unless you're currently on that page. If you're currently on that page, it won't be a link, which I thought was pretty slick. That like Ruby is just smart enough, Rails is smart enough to know that. All right, so the link we're going to make is the page name. Whatever it is, the action is going to be show. Okay, the ID is going to be its permalink. Okay, so the page.permalink. All right, and then we will close out of that list item. Okay, now we're going to end the do loop there. Close out of that first unordered list. Close out of that list item. Close out of the other do. Right up here, the do loop up here. And then we close out of the main UL there. And we should probably tab these over to match up. Just so it makes a little bit more sense. There we go. All right, so if there are any subjects, it's going to store them inside of subjects. If not, it's just going to be an empty array. It's going to loop through all the subjects. It's going to put the subject name there. And then basically underneath it, that's why we're doing another unordered list. It's going to tab it over a little bit. It's going to go through all the subjects, and then it's going to print out underneath the subject name, it's going to print out all of the pages that are attached to that subject. And then therefore you'll be able to click on the page, see the page, and then all of the sections attached to that page. And then if we're not on that current page, it's going to show the page's name. The action is going to be show. Okay, that's the, when it says show action, it means right here, it's going to use this show action, the show template here. And then it just sets up the ID, which I just realized I messed up. Okay, and the ID that it's going to pass is, or this is just tells you what page it's going to be attached to, right? Or it's passing in the page ID there, the permalink. So we're able to throw up that correct page when we click on it. And again, if we're already on that current page, it will not be a link. If we're not, it'll show up as a link. So we'll be able to click on it. Now, if you've been paying attention at all, you may be thinking, well, this is a link, so why aren't you using the helper, those link helpers, right? Those route helpers. Well, when we come here, I'm going to stop this. And we'll say Rails routes. Now, when we have this permalink thing, that's what we're trying to do, right? We're grabbing the permalink and we're going to use that as the link. There is no prefix. So it has to have a prefix. Remember how we'd be doing admin _ path, access menu _ path. Well, that's kind of admin users _ path. So because it doesn't have a prefix, we're not able to use that helper. So that's what we're going to do next, is we're going to hop over there and we're going to make it have a prefix so we'll be able to use it. So I'm going to come over here to the routes. Okay, and we have the show permalink. So we're just going to give it a helper here. And all we do is we add this little as, and we're going to call it public _ show because that seems to make the most sense because we're doing public show, so public _ show. And then if I come back here and run it, we should have a prefix on there now. So there it is, public show. So now that it has this prefix, we're able to use that inside of the link that we created. So we can come back to where we were. Okay, and we can change it to what it is now, and we can get rid of this stuff because we can use that helper. So we can say public show path, and it's going to use the permalink to know what page to go to when we click on it. Right? So now it knows. So this is just controlling, right? When we're over here and we're saying show PHP, all that stuff, that's what that's controlling. So when we click on the link, it's going to say show. Because of this, it's going to say this public show path, it's going to go show / whatever the permalink of the page is, and therefore it'll go to the right page. All right, let me make sure I have this right. Probably don't, but it's okay. All right, so now that we've created this navigation partial layout, save everything real quick, we need to tell it to be used. Right? That's kind of important. So we'll go into the layouts folder. We're going to open public. Right? And then right after the main div here, we're going to tell it to put in the navigation. So we'll say div ID equals navigation. That's going to be using the style that was already given to us. Okay, we'll close out that div. Okay, and inside that div, we're going to create the Ruby code that's going to render that partial for us. So render. What it's going to render is the partial. Then we got to tell it where the partial is. So layouts, navigation. Right, so inside of layouts, go inside of navigation. That's the partial it's going to use. Now, in here, let's see here. Yeah, remember it's using this subject's instance variable, right? So if we tell it to if we're telling public to use navigation, well, public isn't going to have access to this. So the problem is, so we got to make sure when it uses this partial that we pass that variable along with it so it can use it as well. All right, so that's what we got to do here. So we got to say locals. These are the local variables that are going to be coming with it. Okay, and they are subjects. Well, I guess not they. It is subjects. That's what we're going to be using. Okay. And again, that should be review, but we did that a few weeks ago, so. Okay, so hopefully that will render out a navigation for us now. So let's take a look. Let's run the server. Now if we go to the root, we should get some navigation here going on now. If we did it right. Of course we didn't do it right. Why would I do it right, guys? Let's see what's wrong here. What is it saying? So name error, undefined local variable, layouts. It doesn't like layouts. This needs to be in quotes. Duh. Gotta love it. Okay, I think we're good there now. We'll see in a minute. So I gotta say, that's one thing I actually really like about Ruby is that the debugger's amazing. It's like, oh, right here, this is the issue. Fix it. You know, like it's really nice. Let's see what it does now. Come on, baby. My server is so nasty. There we go. So there's my subject. There's my page. There's my other subject. There's my page. You're like, well, where's the other subject? Well, it's not visible. So it's not showing up. So if I go to edit and I make it visible, and then if I head back to the home page, it shows up now. And I did tell it to be in the second position too as well, so it shows up. So now we're getting our subjects, our pages, and then when I click on the pages, it loads over here, which is pretty cool. Over to my page, there's stuff that I did. So now we can navigate to the different subjects, or I guess the different pages with the different sections on them, which is pretty slick. All right, we're getting there, guys. Got a couple more things, and then we'll get it up to Heroku, and then you can say, wash yourself of this class for the rest of your life, right? So I'm in, logged in as. Need to say my name there. That's one thing that we didn't do. All right, so we're going to head over to the access controller. And we're going to go to the attempt login action here. And we're going to add this to, let's see what we got here. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. All right, we're going to go to the if authorized method here. And we're just going to add right under here another session ID, which is basically going to hold their username or their name, their first name. So we're going to, well, I guess username. Now we're going to do username. So username, that's going to be the session ID, and it's going to be equal to authorized user, right? So the authorized user, that they are authorized. We don't want to just say user. We got to make sure that they're authorized first and then grab their username. So authorized user, username. So that sets up this session variable that's going to, because this is something where we wouldn't want it to go to the database every time to grab, because every time they go to a different page, every time they do something, it's going to go to the database, and that's something that you don't want to have to repeat over and over again. So we go to the database once, they're authorized, and then we grab their username and we throw it in this session variable that can be used throughout the project or throughout all these different controllers and views and such. Okay, and we also want to clear that out, just like we do it here when they log out. So when they log out, we're going to say username is equal to nil. Okay. Sorry, I'm saying K a lot, but it's okay. That's what I do. Now we're going to head over to the menu action. We're going to put inside of here at username equals session username. So now we're setting up that instance variable that can be used as needed. Okay, so now we're going to head over to our template. So we're going to go into Views, head into Access, we'll go to Menu. We have logged in as, right? So this is where we need to add it. So we're going to say logged in as username. So now that we set it up there on the access controller right here, we can now use it down here on menu. So logged in as, and it will print out whatever is stored inside of username. So now we can test that. So we'll save. I'll hit log out. And a couple thousand years later, it may work. Do you have my thing? Okay, do have it. So Dave Kidd. All right, so logged in as Dave.Kidd. So that works now. Okay, so guys, holy crap, we're done. This is as far as we're going to go with this. This is basically what we wanted it to do, and it does what we want. So now let's get it up to Heroku. This should work if I'm just going to kind of show you what I've found out. I mean, this should work if you've been uploading as we go, but when I tried it on my other one, I did run into some issues. So I had to delete things and such and things like that, and that's okay. So if you're running into issues and it doesn't work, you can start over. All you got to do is just click on the one you're going to do, and if you come over here to settings, by the way, I probably should log out just so we can see it from there. So I can go Heroku. Okay, I'm going to log in. Okay, so I hit login. Okay, it shows me my apps. So this is the one this is my test one, and this is the one I'm doing for you guys. So I can click on that. I can come over here to settings, and I can just delete the app. That'll delete the app, the database, everything with it. And that's okay if you need to do that. But I'm going to try to do it from what I have so far, and then hopefully just that'll work. You should be able to also, you can come over here to overview, and you can click on Heroku Postgres, or however you say that. And this should show you your database. And this is what it's called. That's the name of the database that they created. Okay, and this is the app that it's in. Because there's a thing called push and pull where they say you can push the data that's inside of your local database onto a Heroku server, and I tried for hours and it wouldn't work. So really what I ended up doing is I just said, well, I'm just going to create it once it's online. So we're going to upload everything to an empty database, and then I'm going to create some pages and sections once it's up there. Because I couldn't get it to push, and I Googled around, and a lot of people are having this issue. So again, it may just be a Windows thing, so maybe you Mac people will be happy. But I'm just going to show you how to get it online and then go from there. So I'm going to try to show you everything you need so you'll be able to get it online and be able to turn it in. So once it's this, as far as this is, you're good. You just need to turn it on in Heroku to be able to get your grade. And by the way, like I sent out in that text, your grade is going to be, if you can get it up here to me and show me that you got it done, you'll get an A. If you're a couple weeks behind, every week that you're behind, your grade's going to drop 1. So if you're a week behind, you'll get a B. If you're 2 weeks behind, you'll get a C, and so forth. That seemed to be the most fair. So anyways, this might take a while, so you may need to fast forward and get to the part you need, but I'm going to probably show you how to upload it for what you have currently, but then I'm going to try to show you probably how to get it from the ground up as well. We'll just see what happens. Okay. So what I'm going to do is we'll just upload everything that we've done so far. So get add space period. Okay, that's going to replace all the different changes that we did. We're going to commit it. So get commit all those changes, and then we put in some comment. I'll just call it final. Okay, that commits all your changes over to Git, and then we're going to push it up to Heroku. So I'm going to say Git push Heroku master. Okay, now last week we need to remember that we made a change in our database. We changed what it was like encrypted password to password digest, or hashed password, I think it was hashed password, and we changed it to password digest. So we're going to need to run those changes to our database as well. So we're going to want to, we got to run the change that runs all the migrations and changes the online database. So because all this is doing right now, it's not doing anything to the database. It's just uploading all of this stuff, your controllers, your models, all that stuff. That's all that we're doing here. All right, so it looks like it went well. So next thing we got to do is we're going to run the migrations for the database. So Heroku run rake space db migrate. So Heroku space run space rake space db : migrate. and that's going to run all the different migration files. So this right now should be changing the database that I have up on here. It should be changing, yeah. So add password digest, that's what it did. Okay, it ran that last migration here that we created last week. So my stuff should be ready now. Now, here's the problem though. So I'm going to go Heroku open, and that should open it up here. So it works, right? But I don't have anything here because I don't have any subjects, I don't have any pages, I don't have any sections, I don't have any of that. So this is where you can play around with it a little bit, and you can try to push stuff. Like if you go Heroku, we'll say push. Let's see what comes up here. I'm going to just do a search for push. It's just, I'm just going to say, to be honest, what I'm going to show you here is just you'll save more time. You'll save more time to just put in an admin user, because here's the thing. I come over here and I say admin, so I'm going to log in, right? And I type in what I had, so Dave Kidd, ABC, 1, 2, 3, and it's going to say invalid because when we migrated this database, it didn't take the information in the database and throw it up there. It just took the database structure. So, and here's the other problem is we're using bcrypt, right? So we have to we have to make, oh, you know what? Let me think here. No, we're okay. I think when we did that master, yeah, pretty sure. I think we're okay. I'm just hoping bcrypt is on here correctly. We'll find out in a minute. But anyway, so yeah, that's the problem is, okay, I don't know if bcrypt stops it is the thing. So I try to upload it, and you do this thing called push, where I don't think this is it. I'm going to pause it real quick and I'm going to find it. So hold on. All right, so here it is. You can type that out if you want or do a search. But so polling is taking stuff from Heroku and putting it on your local, and then push is taking stuff from your local database and putting it on your Heroku database. It could never work for me. Now, you can try this and get it to work. If it works, great. But the way you do it is you put in that command Heroku, pg push, and this is going to be the name of your database. So open this up. I'm showing you this because Mac people, you may be in luck here. But PC people, it may just not be worth your time and effort. So, but all I can really do is tell you what I've figured out on my own, and then you can try it. But like I said, the way I'm going to show you how to do it is you're just going to have to recreate it again, which is kind of annoying, but the good thing is we haven't really gotten that far. So my name is, my database name is Heroku_development. So that'd be the one that I'd be using. So I would say Heroku pg push, Heroku_development would go right here. And then the name of your database is going to be over here. It's going to be this. Okay, if you don't remember how I got there, so I'm in here, I pick this. This is my app. I come over here to resources. Nope, I come over here to overview. And then I click on Heroku Postgres, whatever. And then this is the name of my database there. Okay. So Heroku pg push, Heroku_development, that's the name of my database. It's whatever yours is called. Okay, whatever it's called over here. Then this is the name of the database here. So for me, it's this, the cubed 6, this PostgreSQL cubed 6, blah, 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 all the dashes, everything. All right, and then you do space, -- app, and then the name of your app. Okay, and the name of your app is this. All right. So you can try that. I kept getting an error that said, hey, your Heroku database has information in it. And so I kept doing a thing called reset, where I would say Heroku PG reset, and it kept saying it was reset, and it deleted all the stuff in the database, and it was empty. And then I tried to do this, and it kept saying there was something in there. So it just didn't work. It never worked for me. So I Googled around like crazy, and it just basically found a ton of people had that issue, and it just never worked for them. Right? Now, if you get an issue, when you try the push, if you get a bunch of errors, like Ruby errors, it may be, let's see if it shows it here. It may be some sort of issue. I can't remember exactly where it is, but on Windows, there's this thing called environmental variables, and I'll just show you it really quick. So if you get a bunch of Ruby errors and it says like it can't find PG, like PG's like PostgreSQL is not installed, you have to do a thing called an environment variable. And I think this is kind of a cool thing to know anyways. So what you do is you hit start, you're going to right click on computer, and this I'm pretty sure is just for PCs. We come over here, we see the PC, we go to advanced system settings. Now again, this is if you want to try to take the data that already exists and push it up to Heroku. If you don't care, if you just want to get that admin user inside your database and then recreate it online on the Heroku app and recreate all that stuff, you can do that. To be honest, it's probably the quicker way. This is if you're interested in this stuff and you want to try to push your information from your local database to the online one, just do what I'm showing here. So we're going to go environment variables, okay, and we're going to leave that open. Then I'm going to come over here and open computer, and then I'm going to navigate to where PostgreSQL is installed. So I'm going to double click. For me, it was inside of program files, inside of my C drive. We come down here to PostgreSQL, go inside of 9.6, and then bin. That's what we want, go inside of bin. If I come up here and click, this is the path to it, and so I'm going to copy that. Okay, and then I'm going to come over here to system variables, and we want to find path. So I'm going to click on path, and I'm going to hit edit, and you can see that I've already added it here at the end. But you're going to put a semicolon, and then you're going to post it there. You're going to post this path here. What that does is it allows you to do commands from the command prompt using PostgreSQL now. Like the fact that I can say Rails, didn't you think it was kind of weird that I could say Rails and the command prompt somehow already knew what to do? It's because like Ruby is set inside of this path environmental variable, so it knows all of these different paths. Now it can use these executable files inside of there to run. So Ruby's in there, Java's in there. If you installed Python, I mean that's how the Rails command becomes active. And that's why I can say Atom, right? Because Atom is in here as well. So these are all the programs that I'm basically giving, I'm giving the okay to be able to run inside of this command prompt. So once I put PostgreSQL in there, now I'm able to run these PG commands. So Heroku PG push. That wouldn't work unless I put PostgreSQL in here as a system variable. So the fact, and like Heroku, same thing. The reason once we installed Heroku, it knows what the Heroku command is because it's set inside of here as an environment or a system variable. All right. So if the PG commands aren't working, that's what you do. You're just going to add that in there. So now it knows it can use the PostgreSQL executable to run those PG commands. So once you add that in there, then you can try to push it. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, we're going to do what we've done before. All right, and what we're going to do is just run the Rails console, but we're going to run the Rails console on Heroku. Okay, and this is how we're going to do it. And again, you're welcome. This took me hours to figure out. So I'll say Heroku. So I'm just saying, this class has been crazy for you guys. Trust me, it's been way worse for me. I know you're like, shut up, Dave, I don't care, but I've spent so many hours on this trying to fix things. It's been crazy. So I'm going to say Heroku run Rails console. So now we're not running the console locally. We're hooking up to Heroku and we're running the console on the online version of this. And so from here on, it's just stuff we've done before, right? So I'm going to say u equals admin user dot new. And I'm going to set up, I don't want to do it all in one command because I have a better chance of messing that up. So I'm going to say first name is equal to Dave. So we've just done this before. This should be total review here. Okay. So now it shows Dave in there. So now I can say u.last name, kid. Hopefully this is ringing a bell here. u.email, because I'm hoping you're seeing the problem here. Because, okay, yeah, great, it's online, right? It's online, it's live, but I can't log in because there's no admin. There's no admin user. And so I can't get in there and add pages and sections and subjects. So I have to put in a username, and an admin user, and that's what we're doing right now. Okay. So u.username is equal to dave.kid. All right, and then we're going to say password is equal to abc123. Now this is where we'll see if bcrypt's working or not. We'll see what we got in U, and we do see and this made me happy, not going to lie. Now we see that the password digest is there. So online, on Heroku server, bcrypt is working. Happy day. So now I can say u.save. Okay, comes back as true. So now we've created that admin user. So now we should be able to come over here to our app. We should be able to log in now. Happy day. So now it's live. We're in as an admin user. Now we can start managing subjects and pages and adding admin users. So I know it's going to take a little bit longer, but now you can get in and start adding stuff. So anyways, so what I need from you to turn in is obviously this needs to be online, but I'm also going to need your password, your login. Okay, so I'll be able to go into your final, and I'll be able to go in and add some subjects and pages to make sure that everything works. And if everything works, you get an A. Happy day, right? So guys, thanks for this 11-week craziness. I hope you survived. As crazy as it was, I loved it. I thought it was really cool learning this Ruby stuff. It was intense, but I think we created kind of a cool project. And if you didn't guess, it should be kind of obvious, but if you didn't guess by now, this was Linda's, lynda.com's Ruby course. So if you ever want to review this or check it out again or whatever, get a Lynda subscription and you can hop on there. I just kind of went through what he showed, and it's basically step by step. So I'm just letting you know, it's not like I'm amazing and came up with this, but this is a good start. And I know if I'm ever going to teach this course, there's a lot of things I do different than he did. But it was a good intro to Ruby and Ruby on Rails. So get it up there, guys. If you have any questions, let me know. But get as far as you can so you don't fail, right? Okay, guys. And then, like I said, once you're logged in, you're able to log in, add a couple pages, add some subjects, add some sections so I can see that everything's working. And then give me your username and password so I can go in and check everything. So that's what I need for the final. Thanks, guys. Have an awesome life. We'll see ya.